Alright, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we take a look at and review my Abasi Larada Legion 7. Let's get into it. Alright, so some of y'all will know that that song that you just heard was, I retooled it to become a full song based off of something that I did a long time ago using the KSR series and the Air Now. I really like how it turned out, and some of you will be happy to know that I have Alex working up some lyrics and vocals for that. So, more on that in the future. But anyway, today we are here to talk about and try my best not to gush too hard over my Larada Legion 7. As you guys know, I have experience with guitars from super cheap up to about the $3,500 range, particularly in my Skirvison and my Zen. This guitar was $2,000 new. You can get them for, like, they have some B stocks available for about $1,600, which I think is a great buy. If I had the opportunity, I totally would have went back and got that, because ultimately, one of my main points of this review is going to be that I think it may be just a little bit too expensive for what it is. Either that, or they could, that's it. Maybe just a very slight bit, in my opinion, a little bit too expensive for what it is. But that's also balanced out by some really cool just stuff about it. Ultimately, I love this guitar, and I'm not at all bothered by the fact I paid $2,000 for it. However, there are one or two things that I wish would be a little bit different about it at that price range. Whereas I think $1,600, it's almost a steal. It's very weird. It's like it's a very thin line, and values will mean different things to different people. So personally, I definitely think I'm getting great value out of this instrument. All right, anyway, let's start with the not so great things, because I think this review is going to turn into me kind of gushing about the guitar. Basically, there was a little bit of what I would assume to be glue at the nut when I bought it. It's still kind of there. You can see it. Which is just an aesthetic thing, you know. These guitars are definitely they're made in Korea, I believe, at World Music Instruments, the same place that Schecter and some of the Agile guitars are made. Now, I know that company has like different tiers that the other company, like Abasi or Schecter or whatever, can select in terms of how much QC and everything and attention to detail is going to go into the crafting of the instrument. And this guitar is definitely at a much higher quality level than my Agile, which I think is made in the same place. But at the same time, for $2,000, I would have liked to see a little bit more. Like, I would have preferred to have not seen, you know, some gunk around my nut. In the grand scheme of things, though, not really a big deal. The fretwork is comfortable. It's pretty nice. It's not anything to write home about, but it's totally fine, you know. Nothing sharp or anything about this, which is great. And the only other, it's not negative, but wish list item that I have here is that I really wish that the Legion series came with lumen-lay side dots, as opposed to the regular side dots that you get. So, for instance, the one time that my band and I played live in DC, it was in a small club, dimly lit, all that sort of stuff. Having lumen-lay side dots was a huge deal for me. That's how a lot of us are going to be playing, you know. So those side dots tend to mean quite a bit for that application. Whereas for something like this, studio use, no complaints. It's perfectly fine. It's a great studio instrument. So I guess at that point we can segue into talking about the good things. I've tuned this thing down to I tuned this thing one time, haven't needed to touch it since. It's great. Tuning stability is very much there. Very comfortable to play. And it feels great balance-wise. I like it quite a bit. It feels high quality. And, okay, let's talk pickups. Let's go there. I have a video on my channel comparing the Fishman Fluence Moderns and the Fluence Abasis, and in that video I did come out saying, yeah, I greatly prefer the Abasis. That is definitely still true. It's possible that the Abasis are now my favorite pickup set. They're up there. They're definitely top 1, 2. They're in the top 3 for sure. Prior to that, there were things like the Nail Bomb and the War Pig. At least in this guitar. So in perfect conditions, the Abasi pickups are definitely up there for me as well. I really enjoy the way this guitar sounds across the spectrum of sounds. The clean stuff, the crunchy edge of breakup stuff, and of course the heavily distorted stuff. It just works, and I really, really enjoy it. I haven't had any issues dialing in anything when using this guitar. It sounds quite nice, which I'll demonstrate to you after the talking portion of this review. But the most important thing about this guitar, and something that I don't see a bunch of other companies doing, the very slightly closer distance of the strings from each other. So the strings are closer to each other on this guitar than they are on most other guitars. I've found that to be something that I had no idea that I wanted, that has become a very big deal to me. So, for instance, just QC wise and everything, no, I can't really say, oh, this is totally on the level of my Skirvison, which is, as far as I could tell, just perfect. I couldn't find like an aesthetic flaw on it anywhere, you know. There's a couple of little things on this which I pretty much already talked about. However, playability wise, now this guitar is easily my favorite. So let's talk about fan frets for a minute. So some people feel like fan frets are hard to get used to, or they make either the guitars with fan frets will feel weird, or they'll make guitars with straight frets feel weird. I've never felt that. To me, I can jump back and forth between even extreme fans, and it's not really a big deal to me. It's still this guitar. However, this thinner string spacing is a huge freaking deal to me. Now I'm noticing that yes, all my other guitars feel just that little bit harder to play. And I find myself going, well, guess I'll just pick up the Abasi. And it's to the point where they had some B-stock 8-string Laradas pop up. And I was very, very close to picking one up. And I very well may pick one up in the future. It's just a whole different story in terms of the playability of the instrument. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. I noticed every time I play the guitar, this guitar, that some of the more technical riffs that I do, I don't play anything that crazy, but the harder riffs that I do play, they're significantly easier to play on this guitar. And that's a huge deal to me. So at this point, we have a guitar that sounds great, feels great, and is significantly easier to play than most guitars. That's worth $2,000 to me, personally. Like I said, ultimately, if this thing, I would, even if they had to make it $2,100 and it had Luminlay side dots on it, perfect guitar. That would be a 10 out of 10 experience for me. As of right now, the way that it is, I'd probably still give it like a 9.5 or something, just because it hits all the things that I find important. There are some slight aesthetic imperfections on it. That's going to happen. But in terms of the actual function of a guitar, I want it to sound good, I want it to stay in tune, I want it to feel good to play. I want it to be easy to play now. Like, ease of play was not really something I thought about too much beyond what makes a guitar easy to play. I want the neck to not get sticky when I'm, like, you know, getting sweaty and stuff. That's not something you should worry about with this guitar. But now, that thinner string spacing, to me, makes this guitar easier to play. So, absolutely, in my mind, I would say for most people, these guitars are probably going to be like a 9 to a 9.5 experience. To me personally, this is probably my new favorite guitar. And that kind of, I'm a little annoyed by that, because I'm like, I know that the J Laradas and the higher tier, whatever the rest of the master tier, I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're higher tier versions of Laradas. I would love to own one, but I don't think they're probably not going to be available to left-handed folks. Tosin, if there's any off chance that you're watching this, I would love to buy a higher tier Larada. I love this guitar, and I would love to have the higher tier version of them. But for someone who doesn't need all of that, the Legion series is phenomenal. A+. It's a great guitar. If you have any questions about this beyond that, please feel free to leave them in the comment sections. Now I'm going to play this guitar for a little bit and just enjoy it and share that with you. Let's get into that. Oh, we're playing through my KSR Artemis, which is going through both my KSR 2x12, which is loaded with DV77s, and my RedSeven 1x12, which has a V30 in it. The KSR has a Voodoo VR1 ribbon mic on it, and the RedSeven has an SM57 on it. Let's get into it. All right, and there you have it. Basically, I'm just blown away by this guitar, and like I said, it's probably going to be my most played guitar just off the strength of its ease of play. Like, I really, really enjoy it. It's flexible, tonally flexible, easy to play, stays in tune, feels great, looks great. It's just an absolute winner, and I'm glad to say that, hey, Toast and Abasi and Abasi Concepts really knocked it out of the park with this. Please give me the opportunity to buy a higher tier one as a left-handed player, or, you know, maybe we can work together. I would not be mad for this to be the only brand of guitar that you see me demoing everything else with on this channel. I really like it, and kudos. Great stuff. But hey, if you guys enjoyed this review, if you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed any of the riffs or the music that you heard in this video, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Please like the video. And yeah, you guys take care.